Welcome back and welcome to another movie reviews video. Today is also Vlogmas day 22. If you have missed any of my Vlogmas videos, I will leave my playlist linked up here for you. I will also leave last week's movie review linked up above at some point in case there is a movie that I went to see last week that you are considering seeing this week, since we are now in the kind of festive week, so you might be looking for things to do with family who are visiting. As always, my movie reviews are completely spoiler free. Very important this week with one of the films that I'm talking about, and I will leave timestamps in the description box below so you can scroll to the movie that you want to hear my thoughts on. I went to see 4 movies in cinemas this week that are new releases. It's been a while since they've all been new releases. I didn't end up going to see the 2 Christmas films that I thought I was going to see on Wednesday, but that's okay. The first film I saw in cinemas this week was Knives Out, which I'm kind of late to the game with. Everyone has been watching it and raving about it. I enjoyed it, but wouldn't necessarily say that I've come out raving about it, going to go and see it again, or feel like you should definitely see this one in the cinemas. I think I'm glad I waited, because I think I would have been affected by the hype otherwise, waiting a little while and then coming to it after it's been out a couple of weeks and everybody's been raving about it for a couple of weeks. I definitely laughed. It's based on an Agatha Christie novel, so obviously I thought that the story was a clever one. There was some good twists and turns along the way. I thought that Daniel Craig was excellent fun in this one. I don't normally like him in films, but I really enjoyed him in this one. It was really difficult trying not to see that this was a film starring Captain America. It was really quite difficult getting my head around the fact that he's playing another character, and yet I knew him as other characters before he was Captain America, and I was fine with that. Toni Collette was really funny in this one. I thought that Jamie Lee Curtis would have a bigger role. I was quite sort of interested by the fact that she had a smaller role, and I just thought Christopher Plummer was wonderful. So I think for me this film had a bit of humour in it, and then it was about seeing the all-star cast. I wouldn't say it was anything spectacular in terms of like it was hilariously funny, or it was, the mystery itself was, you know, wonderfully clever. It's based on a book, like we know that it's an Agatha Christie book, we know it's going to be a good mystery. And then I liked Daniel Craig's character in it. I thought he did a really good job. I think, you know, I probably would have liked to have read the book before seeing the film, but given how long it took me to see the film, that was never going to happen. So yeah, I would say it was good, but I wouldn't say, oh, you should rush out to the cinema and go and see this one above any of the other films that I'm going to talk about. So then the next film I saw in cinemas this week was Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Is that what it's called? Rise of Skywalker. The new Star Wars film. I feel like I should know this. This is Star Wars. You know which film I'm talking about. Normally we would watch the other films in the whole saga before going to see a new one, but we didn't do that this year. We did do it on May the 4th this year, so it's not been so long since I did it, and a month ago I was in, you know, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, so, you know, I've been near the Millennium Falcon recently, so I think that gives me enough of a background to go and watch this one. We saw it in IMAX. I would like to see it in other formats and do a bit of a comparison. I'm going to see it in a regular cinema screen on Wednesday this week, so I'll be able to give you a kind of comparison report in next week's movie reviews video. I just thought it was good. Obviously it was going to be very good. My viewing enjoyment was marred somewhat by the over-enthusiastic response from the rest of the crowded IMAX cinema, because they kept clapping, and they would clap for quite a long time, and I would say there was about 10 different instances of clapping, which sort of tells you something about things that go on in the film, the fact that you have an audience reacting like that several times throughout the film. I've had some clapping in cinemas before, but never that amount, and I was a bit like, okay, so yeah, there's good things happening here, but not necessarily enough to make me stop watching the film and start clapping. Fine clapping at the beginning or the end, like that's okay, but there was a lot of clapping in my screen. Just generally kind of slightly badly behaved cinema goers in my screen at 10:45 on a Thursday night. Like, save it for another time. I enjoyed the nostalgic aspect of the film. There is a lot in there that has kind of obviously been put in there not to be crucial to the storyline, but to be nostalgic for viewers who have been a fan for a long time. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. It's definitely a very Disney thing to do. And so you can see the difference between this and like the original three. There were moments that made me laugh in there. Having just listened to Anthony Daniels' book, it was interesting watching C-3PO and the way he plays a part in those jokes, and also knowing what Anthony Daniels said about the suit and the character itself, kind of watching his movements and watching his interactions with the other characters, especially R2-D2. That was really interesting. I cried 3 times, and like proper big cries 3 times, so I liked that. And it didn't feel like a super long film. 2 hours 21 minutes I think it was. The trailers were half an hour, which I was not okay with. I don't, 20 minutes, that's enough. That's what we plan for. Half an hour trailers is not okay. But yeah, it didn't feel excessively long, even though it is one that is over 2 hours. There were a couple of moments of CGI that were questionable. If you've seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. No spoilers, as always. But that didn't necessarily spoil the film for me. It was just like, like they've not worked very hard on that bit, or maybe that bit was added later. One of them was involving C-3PO, which was, I don't think I'd necessarily have noticed if I hadn't thought about C-3PO in depth quite recently. So that was interesting. But yeah, I am looking forward to going to see it again. It's not one of those that I've bought tickets to see again and then I'm like, oh, I don't really want to see that again. And I'm looking forward to kind of looking for the details that I didn't necessarily pick up on in this one, because it is a very detail heavy film, and especially the more nostalgic moments, I think it would be interesting to look at them as part of the film rather than, oh, this is being a nostalgic moment right now and everybody's clapping. So yeah, so obviously because of John Williams' score, I definitely recommend seeing this on the big screen, because it's always wonderful to hear that music loud on multiple speakers, and I did get goosebumps when it opened, and at another point, like actual physical, you can feel them goosebumps. So yeah, recommend seeing that one at the cinema, and it was good. Yeah. Then the next film I saw in cinemas was Cats, which is obviously hugely controversial, just like the last one I talked about. That's why this video is so long. I want to make sure I kind of cover all my bases here. I am a big fan of the stage show of Cats, and I went to see it on my actual birthday a few years ago, so it was cool seeing it so close to my birthday. I was glad that it was released when it was. I have seen Cats in the summer as well, but the last time I saw it was on my birthday, so that's my more memorable time of seeing it more recently. I really like the fact that what they've done here is they've taken the stage set and they've taken the stage costumes and they've taken the stage choreography and they've put it in a movie. I like the fact that they've, created this wonderful set that is very, very similar to the set that you see on the stage when you go and see it on the stage on Broadway, in the West End, wherever you're seeing it. But then they've kind of expanded it because they can do more movement in a movie, but a lot of it is set around this same area. I like the fact that they've taken the costumes from the stage show and put the actors in the movie in the costumes, but have then used the CGI to add the kind of fur and other details like the whiskers and things like that. So it's a bit like the stage show is kind of your 2D version, and this has created a kind of 3D version, even though it is the other way around. I really like the choices that they made in order to do that. However, I can see why a lot of people think that it's an odd choice if they are not big fans of the stage show. For me, this wasn't like going to see a movie called Cats. It was like going to see an adaptation of the stage show on the big screen that I could access for just the price of a cinema ticket, rather than paying through the nose to see it on Broadway, or waiting till I'm back in the UK to see it on the West End. I was happy with the casting choices. I know a lot of people have been wary of the fact that they used Judi Dench as old Deuteronomy when, you know, that part was originally played by Brian Blessed. I mean, maybe they couldn't get Brian Blessed. He would have been amazing. Obviously. But I thought that it was an interesting choice, and I thought that she took that big part and kind of made it her own and injected a little bit of humor into there and made it that little bit smaller. And then the part of Victoria is expanded for the film, and she has a song that is exclusive to the film that's like the Taylor Swift Andrew Lloyd Webber combo. I thought that Taylor Swift's part in the film was really good. I want her shoes. However, the shoe thing bothered me slightly, because in the stage show nobody wears shoes except for Grisbilla, and except for when they do a tap dancing number, in which case they put on tap shoes. In the film there's a tap dancing number and they put on tap shoes. I really liked that and really approved of that. But in the film, Grisabella does not have boots on, and that iconic Elaine Page singing Memory with those like 80s pointy kitten-heeled slouchy boots, like that's part of the Grisabella character for me. So I thought that Jennifer Hudson did a great job as Grisabella, and with the song, she did such a fab job with the song. It was really hard not to sing along, really hard. I mouthed along, it's fine. But yeah, those are kind of like, that thing bothered me slightly, the shoes, the fact that she didn't have the boots on. But I liked the new song. I thought it fitted well for the film, and I'm glad they did like their own stamp on it in the film. A couple of other songs were missing because of that song, but then there was also a few more bits of like added dialogue to give some more humor and things like that, which again felt like you're paying homage to the stage show but giving it a little bit more for theatre audiences, which I liked. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I would go and see it again, and I'm gonna try and make that happen because I love the songs and I love the staging and I love the choreography, and that was all there for me. Wasn't a massive fan of Rebel Wilson in this one, I have to say, and I am normally a huge fan of hers, and I love that part, and I would have cast her in that part, but I just don't think she did it justice. It wasn't kind of big enough for me. Wanted it a little bit more. I wish they would put this one on in the Dolby screen so that we could have that loud, like as if you've got a live orchestra thing going on as well, but I don't think it's going to happen because it came out at the same time as Star Wars, and Star Wars is in the Dolby screen for the foreseeable future, it seems. That's all that's in the Dolby screen right now. But yeah, so recommend seeing this one on the big screen if you are a fan of the stage show. If you're not a fan of the stage show, I think you're going to be one of these people that just doesn't get it or doesn't like it. And maybe if a friend suggests going and seeing something in the cinema, you maybe go with my next cinema going choice, which I really enjoyed, and that is Bombshell. This one covers the scandals that went on at Fox with so it includes Bill O'Reilly but doesn't cover specifically the Bill O'Reilly scandal. It covers when these allegations first came out with Megyn Kelly and Gretchen, I don't want to get her last name wrong. I saw this last night, I feel like I should know, but yes, anyway, those scandals. I thought that Charlize Theron did such an amazing job. I was like, is that her? Is it not? Like, the voice is different. Like, what's... yeah, she did such a good job. Normally, I'm not a massive fan of Nicole Kidman in films. Don't know why, just I think if someone else had been in Moulin Rouge, I would have liked it better. But I thought she was really good in this film. I thought she gave a really kind of measured performance. It could have gone big, it could have gone hysterical. It was really measured and really tight, and I really appreciated that because that's what the nature of the film needed. The film does have a little bit of kind of speaking to the audience as well as interactions with each other, which I really liked. And again, it kind of made me feel included in the scandal. I liked that kind of direction choice, and made me feel like I was part of this and I was watching it unfold, and I was, you know, there to kind of support these women. Obviously it's all based on true stories, but they've taken some artistic license with some of the stuff. Kate McKinnon was amazing in it. Again, kind of a very like measured performance, whereas it could have gone big and could have gone like out there or could have gone comedic, but she definitely provides the voice of reason in some situations. And then Margot Robbie, again, I thought did a really good job, and you really felt her turmoil and her struggle just as much as you did the other characters. I liked the fact that obviously we have the scandal to do with these men, but this is a film that the women themselves have most of the screen time and most of the face time, and I think that's exactly as it should be, and I'm glad that they didn't change that just because it's Hollywood. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one an awful lot. I would say that this again feels like one I would like to go back and see again. So out of the 4 films that I've seen this week, I would rewatch definitely in the cinema the last 3. I'm already definitely going to go and rewatch Star Wars, and I really feel like I want to make it happen that I rewatch the other 2 as well. So there you have my recommendations. Again, the Bombshell doesn't need to be on the big screen. It's not like with Star Wars and Cats, you've got the music, you've got that need for that sound. But if you can go and see it and just have these larger than life characters be literally larger than life on the screen in front of you, then you might want to make that choice. And if you're not a fan of Star Wars, or you're not a fan of the stage show of Cats, it's a really solid choice for going to see this week at the cinema. So there you have it. Long one this week, but I wanted to make sure and talk about these couple of controversial films in here in enough detail. I will be back with another Vlogmas video for you tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed, so that lands in your subscription feed. If there is a particular movie you would like to hear my thoughts on, I would go and see this week, as always, let me know in comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.